The most dangerous book on your shelf isn't a weapon anymore. It is a target on your back. If you are currently sitting in a room, planning your rise to power, and your strategy relies on strictly following the 48 laws of power, you haven't just fallen behind. You have already lost the game. The elite strategists didn't stop playing. They didn't grow a conscience. They simply realized that the rules you are currently reading were written for a world that no longer exists. Welcome to The Wake. Today, we are not just discussing a book. We are performing an autopsy on the modern mind. We are going to dismantle the old Bible of manipulation, law by law, and show you why 90% of it is now social suicide. And then, I am going to hand you the new rule book, the one that isn't sold in bookstores. But first, we have to talk about you. Let's be honest about a situation you've probably felt recently. It's a subtle feeling, but it gnaws at you. You read Law 3, conceal your intentions. So, you went into your workplace or your social circle, and you tried it. You stayed quiet. You gave vague answers. You tried to cultivate an air of mystery. You thought you were building an aura of power. But if you are an observant person, you notice something disturbing. The reaction wasn't awe. It wasn't respect. It was unease. The room didn't get quiet because they feared you. It got quiet because you made things awkward. If you are an introverted thinker, this is your nightmare scenario. You realized, perhaps too late, that in the hyper-connected modern world, silence isn't viewed as wisdom. It is viewed as a threat. People didn't fear you. They didn't wonder about you. They simply made a new group chat without you. They isolated you, not out of malice, but out of a subtle biological repulsion. Why did this happen? Why did the advice that worked for Napoleon Bonaparte fail for you in 2024? To understand this, we have to look at the timeline. Robert Greene published The 48 Laws of Power in 1998. Think about the world in 1998. The internet was a baby. Social media did not exist. Privacy was the default state of human existence. In 1998, if you were quiet, people assumed you were deep. But fast forward to today. We live in the age of surveillance capitalism. We live in the age of the algorithm. But more importantly, we live in the age of collective hyper-awareness. This is the psychological reality that Machiavelli and Greene could not predict. We live in a world where everyone has a PhD in pop psychology. Everyone has watched the same YouTube videos on manipulation that you have. Everyone knows what gaslighting is. Everyone knows what love bombing looks like. Everyone knows what the silent treatment means. We have all become detectives of human behavior. We analyze text response times. We overanalyze body language. We screenshot conversations. The audience has become smarter than the magician. So, when you walk into a room and try to use an old-school technique, like acting distant to create desire or using silence to create fear, the modern brain doesn't register it as power. The modern brain registers it as a glitch. It feels fake. It feels like the uncanny valley. You look like a robot trying to simulate a human leader. The moment someone senses you are playing the game, their psychological immune system kicks in. They label you as cringe, or try hard, or sketchy. And once that label is applied, you are finished. You are no longer a leader to be followed. You are a pathogen to be neutralized. This is why the Sigma male archetype is mocked. It is visible effort. And in the modern power game, visible effort is death. So if the mask is dead, if mystery is dead, what replaced it? If you look at the top 1% of influencers, CEOs, and modern leaders, you will see they stopped using the 48 laws. They found a mechanism that is twice as effective, specifically because it looks like a mistake. They stopped hiding their flaws and started weaponizing them. It's called weaponized authenticity, or the calculated flaw. The old laws taught you to be a god, perfect, distant, untouchable. The new laws teach you to be a human, flawed, relatable, and seemingly harmless. Think about the Trojan horse. This is the oldest trick in the book, but we need to view it through a modern lens. If the Greeks had tried to break down the walls of Troy with force, they would have failed. That is what the 48 laws try to do. Force your way into power through dominance in games. Instead, the Greeks left a gift, a wooden horse. It didn't look like a weapon. It looked like a peace offering. It looked like a surrender. So the Trojans opened the gates themselves and brought it inside their own walls. Your flaws are the Trojan horse. Think about the person who currently holds the most influence over you. The podcaster you listen to for 3 hours a day. The boss you actually like. The partner you can't seem to leave. Do they act like perfect stoic statues? No. They probably admit their small anxieties. They confess their little screw-ups. They tell you about their childhood trauma. They make you feel like you see the real them. This is the trap. When someone exposes a weakness to you, your brain instinctively lowers its shield. Biology takes over. You think, they are vulnerable. They are showing me their soft underbelly. Therefore, they are not a predator. They are safe. But that vulnerability is calculated. They give you a small, harmless truth, so that you will swallow a massive, beautiful lie later. They aren't showing you their neck because they trust you. They are showing you their neck, so you will drop your knife. This is the fundamental shift from hard power to soft power. Hard power says, I am better than you. Obey me. Soft power says, I am just like you. Understand me. Hard power creates resistance. If you push me, I push back. Soft power creates dependency, and dependency creates addiction. We are going to spend the next hour breaking down exactly how this works. But to do that, we have to clear the rot from your mind. We need to go through the 48 laws of power, one by one, and separate the gold from the garbage. Because make no mistake, some of the laws are eternal. Law 1, never outshine the master, is still relevant. But others will get you fired, divorced, or canceled before you even finish your morning coffee. We are going to rank them. We are going to categorize them into 3 tiers. Tier 1, the suicide laws. These are the techniques that will destroy you in the modern age. Tier 2, the useless laws, the filler, the stuff that sounds poetic but does nothing. And Tier 3, the eternal laws, the dark core of psychology that never changes, because human nature never changes. And finally, we will reveal the 49th law, the law that isn't in the book. The law that the elite are using right now to control the narrative, while you are busy trying to look mysterious. Let's begin the purge. Let's start with the most dangerous category. These are the suicide laws. If you attempt these in a modern corporate environment, a modern relationship, or on the internet, you will not gain power. You will trigger an immediate social immune response. You will be ejected. The first and perhaps most fatal mistake young strategists make is Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. Robert Greene writes about total annihilation. He quotes Moses and ancient Chinese generals. He says you must leave no embers burning, or the fire will start again. In 1200 AD, on a battlefield, this was sound advice. If you left your enemy alive, he would gather an army and return to kill your family. But in 2024, crushing your enemy totally is impossible. You turn them into a martyr, you crush them, and the crowd rushes to pick them up. You win the battle, but you lose the war because you turned the public against you. In the modern age, you do not crush your enemy. You absorb them, you hire them, you partner with them. Or you kill them with kindness so that they look crazy for attacking you. You don't want to be the executioner, you want to be the bigger person. Next on the suicide list is Law 6, court attention at all cost. Greene argues that it is better to be slandered and attacked than to be ignored. He says notoriety is a form of power. This works if you are a reality TV star or a shock jock. But for anyone trying to build real, lasting influence, this is poison. In the age of cancel culture and digital footprints, courting negative attention is not a strategy, it is a liability. We have moved from an attention economy to a trust economy. Attention is cheap. You can get 1 million views tomorrow by running naked through a mall. But that attention does not convert to power. it converts to ridicule. Real power today is largely invisible. The most powerful people in the world are not the ones trending on Twitter. They are the ones writing the checks to the people trending on Twitter. If you are courting attention at all costs, you are making yourself a clown for the amusement of the court. You aren't the king, you're the jester. Let's move to Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Now pause. This law is tricky. The concept is correct. Dependency is power. We talked about that. But the method Greene describes is outdated. He suggests hoarding information. He suggests being the only one who knows how to fix the machine. He suggests crippling your subordinates so they can't leave you. In the modern workforce, this is called being a bottleneck, and bottlenecks get replaced. If you are the only person who knows the password, or the only person who understands the software, you don't have job security. You have a target on your head. Management will see you as a liability. They will actively work to extract your knowledge and then fire you. Modern dependency isn't about hoarding tasks. It's about hoarding vision. You want people to be dependent on your energy, your clarity, and your emotional stability. You want them to feel like the project falls apart without your leadership, not your labor. And finally, the most misunderstood law of them all. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. This sounds appealing. Everyone wants a cult. But Greene suggests using smoke and mirrors, vague promises, rituals, visuals over intellect. Here is the problem. The modern consumer is cynical. We have been scammed by crypto gurus, dropshipping experts, and fake gurus for 10 years. Our radar for cult-like behavior is incredibly sensitive. If you start using vague language and promising a utopia, people don't think you are a messiah. They think you are running a Ponzi scheme. The modern cult isn't built on mystery. It is built on radical transparency. Look at the biggest movements of the last 5 years. They didn't say, "Trust me, I have a secret." They said, "Here is the data. Here is the raw truth. The world is lying to you, but I am showing you the facts." They use facts, or selective facts, to build the cult. They don't use vagueness. They use hyperspecificity. So if these laws are suicide, which ones are just useless? Which laws are simply dead weight that you need to cut from your brain to make room for the real strategies? We are entering Tier 2, the useless laws. The laws that sound poetic, but in a Zoom meeting on a Tuesday, will do absolutely nothing for you. Tier 2, the useless laws. These are the laws that aren't necessarily dangerous. They likely won't destroy your career, but they are effectively dead weight. They are the tactical equivalent of carrying a sword to a drone fight. They are romantic, archaic, and largely a waste of your mental energy. Let's look at Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. There is rarely one single shepherd. Power is distributed. If you attack the loudest person in a group project, or the most visible manager, the group doesn't scatter. They reorganize. A new head pops up instantly, often more radical than the first one. Modern power is a hydra, not a snake. Cutting off the head achieves nothing. You have to poison the water supply. You have to influence the culture of the group, not just the individual leader. Then we have Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. Greene advises you to be the master of etiquette, to flatter without being obvious, to navigate the politics of the court with grace and subtlety. This advice assumes you are in an environment that values subtlety. But look around you. Modern corporate culture, modern dating, modern politics. It is loud, it is chaotic, it is fast. Nobody has time for the perfect courtier. If you spend months subtly flattering your boss, smiling at the right times, and never making waves, you aren't rising to the top. You are fading into the wallpaper. The modern court rewards speed and tangible results. It rewards the disruptor, not the courtier. The person who challenges the boss respectfully often gets more respect than the person who constantly agrees. Compliance is cheap. Insight is expensive. Don't be a courtier. Be a consultant. Be the person who tells the unpleasant truth that saves the company money. That is worth far more than flattery. And let's address Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. This law tells you to carry yourself with dignity and high self-regard, forcing others to treat you the same way. Fake it till you make it on steroids. Here is the issue. In 2024, acting like a king often reads as narcissism. We live in a culture that values the grind. We value the CEO who sleeps on the factory floor, or claims to. We value the leader who carries their own coffee. If you walk around acting royal, refusing to do menial tasks, demanding special treatment before you've earned it, you don't look powerful. You look entitled. And entitlement is the quickest way to lose the respect of your peers. The modern king doesn't wear a crown. He wears a hoodie. He doesn't sit on a throne. He sits in the trenches with the troops. Status is no longer conveyed by acting above the work. It is conveyed by mastering the work. So we have cleared the minefield. We have identified the suicide laws that will get you killed. We have identified the useless laws that are wasting your time. Now, we are left with the gold. This is Tier 3, the eternal laws. These are the laws that tap into the deepest, darkest parts of the human brain. The parts that haven't evolved in 100,000 years. These laws work on your boss, they work on your spouse, and they work on the internet. But we need to reinterpret them. Greene explained what they are, but he didn't explain why they work on a neurological level. We are about to upgrade your operating system. Let's talk about the most powerful law in the entire book. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. This law is the cornerstone of modern influence. Why? Because words have lost their value. We are drowning in words, emails, tweets, texts, podcasts, meetings. Words are cheap. Promises are worthless. In a low-trust society, an argument is seen as an attack.
When you argue with someone, you force them into a defensive posture. Their amygdala lights up. They stop listening and start fighting to survive. You cannot change a mind that is in survival mode. Action, however, bypasses the defense mechanism. Demonstration is undeniable. If you want to prove you are competent, do not tell me you are competent. Fix the problem before I even ask. If you want to prove you are loyal, do not tell me you are loyal. Stand by me when it is inconvenient for you. But there is a darker layer to this. The modern application of Law 9 is not just about winning through action. It is about silent execution. You do the thing, and you don't talk about it. You let the results speak so loudly that your silence becomes deafening. When you achieve a massive win and say nothing, people project confidence onto you. They wonder, why isn't he bragging? He must be so used to winning that this is normal for him. That is real power. But this brings us to the most controversial law, the one that makes people uncomfortable, the one that is the key to the dependency strategy we talked about earlier. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. This is the law that separates the amateurs from the professionals. Most people think relationships are about give and take. They think, I did a favor for you, so you owe me. That is amateur thinking. That is relying on gratitude. Gratitude is a burden. People hate feeling indebted. If you remind someone of what you did for them, they will resent you. They will avoid you because you remind them of their debt. Self-interest, however, is infinite. Self-interest is the only currency that never inflates. If you want someone to help you, do not tell them about your pain. Do not tell them about your needs. And definitely do not tell them about the favor you did for them 3 years ago. Tell them how helping you will make them rich, famous, or safe. In the modern world, this is called oui femme. What's in it for me? You aren't asking for charity. You are offering them a stage to prove their brilliance. You are feeding their ego while they feed your wallet. That is a transaction they will agree to every single time. Now let's look at Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. This is the law that everyone gets wrong in the digital age.
We established earlier that silence can be creepy, but absence is still a weapon, but it must be used with surgical precision. In an era of constant availability, being always on signals low status. If you reply to every text in 30 seconds, you are signaling that your time has no value. You are signaling that you are waiting for the world to interact with you. High-value people are scarce, but you cannot just disappear. If you just disappear, you are forgotten. The modern application of Law 16 is strategic unavailability. You are present, you are engaging, you are warm, and then you are gone. You enter a deep work phase. Your phone goes off. You are unreachable for 4 hours. You don't apologize for this. You frame it as a necessity of your high-performance lifestyle. I'm going dark to finish this project. I'll respond at 6 p.m. This does 2 things. 1, it shows you are disciplined. 2, it trains people to value your attention when they have it. It creates a scarcity loop in their brain. When you finally do reply, they get a dopamine hit. You have turned your attention into a reward rather than a right. And this leads us perfectly into the dark heart of our tier list. The laws that deal with information control. Law 4, always say less than necessary. This is the hardest law to follow in 2024 because the internet is designed to make you vomit your thoughts. Twitter asks, "What's happening?" Facebook asks, "What's on your mind?" The algorithm begs you to overshare, but the elite understand that in an information economy, information is leverage. Every time you speak, you reveal your position. You reveal your insecurities. You reveal what you don't know. When you speak, you dilute your power. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful person in the boardroom is usually the one listening? They let everyone else lay their cards on the table. They gather all the data. And then, at the end of the meeting, they speak once. And that one sentence decides the outcome. In a podcast world where everyone is talking over each other, be the editor. Be the one who cuts through the noise. Say less, so that when you do speak, people are afraid to miss a word. But now, we must leave the book behind. We have sorted the laws. We have thrown out the dangerous ones. We have upgraded the eternal ones. But there is a gap, a missing piece. Robert Greene wrote about how to interact with people. But he didn't write about how to interact with systems. And he didn't write about the single most powerful psychological lever discovered in the 21st century. The 48 laws are about control. The new strategy is about design. You see, the old way of thinking was, how do I manipulate this person to do what I want? That is exhausting. That requires constant maintenance. You have to watch them, trick them, pressure them. The new way of thinking is, how do I design an environment where doing what I want is their only logical choice? This is the concept of choice architecture, and it is the 49th law. It is the reason you scroll on TikTok for hours even when you want to sleep. It is the reason you buy things you don't need. It is the reason you are anxious. You aren't being commanded by a dictator. You are being nudged by an architect. And if you want to be an elite strategist in the modern age, you need to stop acting like a general and start thinking like a game designer. You need to understand the path of least resistance. Most people are lazy. The brain burns 20% of the body's energy, so it is constantly looking for shortcuts. It wants to do the easiest thing possible. If you want someone to do something, do not use force. Force creates friction. Instead, remove the friction. Make the behavior you want, the easiest option available. If you want your boss to approve your project, don't write a 50-page proposal that requires him to think. Write a 1-page summary with a yes/no checkbox at the bottom. You have designed the choice. You have made yes easy. But this goes deeper, much deeper. We are talking about designing the emotional environment of those around you. This brings us back to weaponized authenticity and dependency. How do you combine these into a unified theory of modern power? How do you become the architect of your own life? The 49th law is unspoken. It isn't written in ink. It is written in neurochemistry. The law of the void. Here is the premise. Every human being you meet is walking around with a gaping hole in their soul. It sounds poetic, but it is biological. We are social animals living in an isolated world. We are status-seeking primates living in a hierarchy that is invisible and constantly shifting. We are anxious. We are unsure of our value. We are starving for validation. The 48 laws teach you how to be a predator in this environment, but the 49th law teaches you how to be the solution. The predator has to hunt. The solution is sought after. The elite strategist identifies the specific void in their target. Does this person feel unintelligent? Their void is a need for intellectual validation. Does this person feel ignored? Their void is a need for attention. Does this person feel chaotic? Their void is a need for order. Once you identify the void, you do not exploit it, you do not mock it, you fill it. But, and this is the crucial part, you fill it only when they are around you. You become the source of the one thing they cannot get anywhere else. If you are the only person who makes your chaotic boss feel calm, he can never fire you. He is addicted to your order. If you are the only person who makes your insecure partner feel like a genius, they will never leave you. They are addicted to your mirror. You are not dominating them, you are completing them. And that is a bond stronger than fear. Fear can be overcome, addiction cannot. This is why weaponized authenticity works. When you admit a flaw, you are signaling, I am safe. You can relax around me. You are filling their void for safety in a dangerous world. This is why silent execution works. When you solve problems without speaking, you are filling their void for competence and reliability. You are designing an environment where you are the path of least resistance to their happiness. This brings us to the final evolution of the strategist, the shift from external power to internal anti-fragility. The 48 laws are focused entirely on the external world, how to control them, how to beat them. It is a paranoid worldview. It assumes that everyone is out to get you. And while that may be partially true, living in a state of constant paranoia is exhausting. It makes you weak. It makes you reactive. If you are always watching your back, you cannot move forward. The modern strategist realizes that true power is not about controlling other people's actions. It is about controlling your own reaction to their chaos. Nassim Taleb coined the term anti-fragile. Something that is fragile breaks under pressure. Something that is robust resists pressure. But something that is anti-fragile gets stronger under pressure. You want to build a reputation, a career, and a mind that feeds on chaos. When someone attacks you, Law 15, you don't crumble. You use the attention to highlight your grace. When you are isolated, Law 16, you don't panic. You use the time to sharpen your skills. You stop trying to prevent the storm. You become the windmill that uses the storm to generate power. This is the ultimate freedom. When you no longer need to manipulate people to feel safe, you become the most dangerous person in the room. Because you are detached. You are playing a game, but you don't care if you win or lose the hand. Because you own the casino. So where does this leave the 48 laws of power? Should you burn the book? No. You should keep it. But you shouldn't read it as a manual for how to act. You should read it as a field guide for what is being done to you. You need to know the 48 laws so you can see them coming. When someone goes silent on you, you know it's Law 16. You don't panic, you smile. When someone flatters you, you know it's Law 24. You don't let it go to your head. You check your wallet. When someone tries to act like a king, you know it's Law 34. You see their insecurity. Knowledge is defense, but your offense must be different. Your offense must be modern. It must be authentic, or appear so. It must be value-driven. It must be based on dependency, not dominance. And it must be designed to fill the voids of those around you. We are reaching the end of the autopsy. The old body of power is dead, but something new has been born. And if you have listened this far, you are now one of the few who has the eyes to see it. But there is one final warning. A warning that isn't in any book. a warning about the cost of this knowledge. Because once you start seeing the strings, you can never unsee them. And that can be a lonely place to be. Once you start seeing the strings, you can never unsee them. You will walk into a meeting and you won't see colleagues. You will see scared children pretending to be adults, using Law 11 to hide their incompetence. You will go on a date and you won't see romance. You will see Law 8, make other people come to you, use bait if necessary. You will watch the news and you won't see information. You will see Law 27, play on people's need to believe. It changes you. It creates a distance between you and the rest of the world. This is the price of elite strategy, isolation. Robert Greene called it the 48 laws of power, but he should have called it the 48 laws of loneliness. Because the more you manipulate, the less you connect. And while power is addictive, connection is essential. So, here is my final advice to you. The advice that overrides every law we have discussed today. Master the laws, learn the game, become a tactical genius. Use weaponized authenticity to build your network. Use silent execution to build your reputation. Use the void to make yourself indispensable, but do not become the mask. At the end of the day, when the door is closed and the lights are off, you need to be able to turn it off. You need to have people in your life, maybe just one or two, where there are no laws, no strategy, no games, no manipulation, just raw, unguarded trust. Because if you apply the 48 laws to everyone, if you try to win your marriage or dominate your best friend, you will succeed. You will win. You will be the king. And you will rule over a graveyard of empty relationships. The elite strategist knows how to use the sword, but the master knows when to put the sword down. The book is on your shelf. It is a tool, a hammer. You can use it to build a kingdom, or you can use it to smash everything you love. The choice is yours. But now at least, you know the new rules. You know why the old tricks failed. You know that silence is not power, that perfection is a trap, and that true influence comes from becoming the oxygen that others need to breathe. You have the operating system. The rest is up to you. Don't just watch, execute.